Do you feel like your body has completely changed after 40? That stubborn belly fat that just won't go away, the unexplained fatigue, the restless nights. And to make matters worse, everyone seems to be talking about fasting as the miracle solution, but does fasting really work during menopause? Or could it actually be dangerous at this stage? Over 80% of women report drastic metabolic changes during the hormonal transition. That's when fasting becomes an appealing promise. But beware, done incorrectly, it can worsen your symptoms, increase stress, and even lead to muscle loss. Today, I'll show you exactly what works and what doesn't when it comes to fasting during menopause. You'll learn how to adapt fasting to your new metabolism, which protocols are safe, and how to avoid the common mistakes that make so many women give up. So go ahead and hit the like button. Share this video with a friend going through the same phase, and subscribe to this channel for more content on women's health and longevity. Why is fasting so popular during menopause? In recent years, intermittent fasting has become a major trend, and for good reason. Studies show it helps regulate insulin, burn belly fat, improve mental clarity, and even reduce inflammation. But what few people talk about is why fasting has become especially popular among menopausal women. During the hormonal transition, metabolism naturally slows down. The drop in estrogen directly affects how the body stores fat and manages blood sugar. And guess what? This makes it much easier to gain weight, especially around the midsection, even if you're eating the same way you always have. Fasting then becomes a way to reset the body, control insulin spikes, and stimulate the burning of stored fat. It can also improve insulin sensitivity, a key factor for women over 40, who are at greater risk of developing insulin resistance. But be careful, not all fasting is safe. And not every woman responds the same way. That's why throughout this video, we're going to explore the practices that truly work safely for your body during this sensitive phase, during the hormonal transition. A woman's body undergoes deep and often unsettling changes. The production of estrogen and progesterone, two essential hormones for female balance, begins to fluctuate irregularly until it drops significantly with the arrival of menopause. This triggers a series of metabolic, physical, and emotional transformations. One of the most noticeable changes is the increase in abdominal fat, even in women who have always maintained a healthy weight. This fat accumulation is directly linked to the drop in estrogen, which previously helped maintain a more balanced distribution of body fat. Without it, the body tends to store visceral fat, the most inflammatory and dangerous type, especially for heart and liver health. Another common consequence is a slower metabolism. Even when maintaining the same eating habits and level of physical activity, many women notice they are gaining weight more easily. That's because the body begins to use energy differently, prioritizing conservation as if preparing for times of scarcity. In addition, cortisol spikes, the stress hormone, become more frequent, especially when there's insomnia, irritability, or anxiety about body changes. This rise in cortisol, combined with insulin fluctuations, further contributes to fat accumulation and makes weight loss more difficult. With so many changes happening at once, it's natural to feel like your body is out of control. And that's exactly why fasting, when done properly, can become a powerful ally. But before starting any new practice, it's essential to understand this new hormonal landscape and respect the limits and signals your body is sending you. Fasting can be a game changer for women in menopause as long as it's approached with intelligence and respect for hormonal changes. One of the biggest benefits is insulin control. With declining estrogen, the body becomes more resistant to insulin, making fat burning more difficult and fat storage, especially around the belly, more likely. Fasting helps reduce insulin spikes and improves the body's sensitivity to it, making energy use more efficient. Another major benefit is the promotion of autophagy, a natural process of cellular renewal. When the body is in a fasted state, it begins to eliminate damaged cells and regenerate tissue, an internal cleanup that strengthens the immune system, fights inflammation, and supports longevity. This is especially important for women 40 plus who are not just looking to lose weight, but to age with health and vitality. Many women also report improved mental clarity, less brain fog, and even better sleep quality after incorporating fasting properly into their routine. That's because fasting, by balancing insulin and reducing inflammation, also positively impacts brain function and neurotransmitters associated with well-being. It's important to highlight that these benefits don't come from fasting more, but from fasting better. The practice must be tailored to the hormonal and emotional context of each woman during this phase of life. Poorly guided fasting can have the opposite effect, increasing stress, disrupting sleep, and harming metabolic health. One of the biggest obstacles for women trying to fast during menopause is making mistakes that go unnoticed but completely sabotage the results. The first is jumping into extended fasting without any preparation. Many women eager to lose weight or manage menopause symptoms dive straight into 16, 18, or even 24-hour fasts without first adjusting their diet or understanding how. Their body reacts to this new rhythm, overloads the system, raises cortisol levels, and can lead to fatigue, food cravings, and even worsening of hormonal symptoms. Another common mistake is maintaining a nutrient-poor diet during the eating window. Fasting is not about total deprivation, it's about strategy. If, during the eating period, a woman consumes too few micronutrients, insufficient protein, and too many refined carbs, the body interprets it as stress, further intensifying hormonal imbalances. It also makes it harder to preserve muscle mass, which already tends to decline naturally with age. Ignoring the body's signals is also very common. Dizziness, irritability, excessive fatigue, insomnia, or mental fog are clear signs that fasting might not be well tolerated. These symptoms should not be ignored or pushed through with willpower. Fasting during menopause requires active listening and constant adjustment. Lastly, many women try to copy protocols designed for men or younger women without realizing that after 40, the body responds in completely different ways. What works for a hormonally stable system may be harmful for one undergoing major changes. Recognizing these mistakes is the first step toward avoiding them and turning fasting into a real tool for health and well-being. Fasting safely during perimenopause. And menopause requires a delicate and personalized approach. There is no one-size-fits-all protocol. But some strategies are especially effective and honor the specific needs of the female body during this phase. One of the most recommended approaches is to begin with a 12-hour fast, especially for women who have never fasted before. This gentle window respects the circadian rhythm and allows the body to gradually adjust to being without food overnight and into the morning. Over time, you can increase to 14 hours of fasting, always paying attention to how your body responds. Longer fasts, like 16 to 8, should be introduced with caution and only when you feel stable and well. Equally important is what you eat outside the fast. Your eating window should be rich in high-quality proteins, healthy fats, a variety of vegetables, and anti-inflammatory foods. This helps preserve lean muscle mass, control blood sugar levels, and provide the essential nutrients that support metabolism, hormonal balance, and optimal brain function. It's also crucial not to fast on days when your body is already under strain, such as during periods of intense stress, after poor sleep, or when facing acute perimenopausal symptoms like severe hot flashes or migraines. Fasting should support balance, not add more stress to the system. Remember, fasting can also be cyclical. Alternating fasting days with more generous eating days helps the body stay adaptable and prevents it from going into a constant alert mode. This cycle is especially helpful for women with a history of restrictive diets or slow metabolism, more than following a strict protocol. The key is to observe, adjust, and build a rhythm that strengthens your body, not punishes it. Even after menopause, when menstrual cycles stop, The female body remains sensitive to hormonal fluctuations, and this must be considered when adopting any fasting practice. While there is no longer an active reproductive cycle, the body still responds to stimuli that directly affect the hormonal axis, such as sleep, stress, nutrition, and prolonged fasting. During perimenopause, a phase that can last for years. Before the final period, hormonal variations may still be felt month to month, even with irregular cycles. Many women notice that some days fasting feels easier, while on others, their body craves more energy and rest. This happens because, in certain phases, progesterone levels drop sharply, increasing stress sensitivity and the likelihood of emotional eating. The best approach is to listen closely to your body. If you notice increased fatigue, irritability, or intense hunger on certain days, it's wise to shorten your fasting window or even skip fasting temporarily. On days when you feel energized, focused, and stable, you can take advantage and extend your fast slightly, always with balance. Once menopause is fully established, even without cycles, the body enters a new, more stable rhythm, but also becomes more vulnerable to metabolic stress. At this stage, rigid, continuous fasting may not be the best choice. Flexible protocols such as 14-hour fasts 5 times a week alternating with non-fasting days often bring more benefits and fewer risks. The key lies in self-regulation. Adapting fasting to your physical and emotional state in the moment creates a healthier relationship with the practice and helps maintain consistency, which is what truly delivers results over time. While fasting offers many benefits, there are specific situations where it may be contraindicated, especially for women undergoing hormonal transitions. For example, if you have uncontrolled hypothyroidism, fasting may further slow thyroid function, negatively impacting your metabolism. In such cases, it's essential to stabilize hormone levels before starting any fasting protocol. Women with a history of eating disorders also need to be especially cautious. Fasting can trigger compulsive or overly restrictive behaviors, leading to an unhealthy relationship with food. For them, the focus should be on building a balanced, sustainable eating routine, ideally with psychological and nutritional support. Fasting should also be avoided during periods of acute stress, such as after a night of severe insomnia, during grief, anxiety, crises, or illness. In those moments, your body needs resources, not restrictions. Forcing a fast during these conditions can hinder recovery and worsen symptoms. What matters most is understanding that fasting is neither mandatory nor miraculous. It's a tool, and like any tool, it needs to be used at the right time, with the proper adjustments, preferably with professional guidance. Now that you understand the challenges and risks of fasting during menopause, let's focus on what really works. Practical, safe strategies you can start applying today. First tip is to start slow. If you've never fasted before, begin with 12 hours between dinner and breakfast. This simple change already helps reduce insulin spikes and supports your body in reaching a more balanced metabolic state. Over the weeks, you can experiment with 13, then 14 hours of fasting, always paying attention to how you feel. Remember, consistency is more important than rigidity. A well-maintained 14-hour daily fast is usually more effective than longer, sporadic fasts that leave you exhausted or unmotivated. The second strategy is to treat your eating window with care and intention. Prioritize lean proteins, healthy fats like olive oil, avocado, and fatty fish, a variety of vegetables, and anti-inflammatory foods. Avoid skipping meals or relying on nutrient-poor snacks. This undermines satiety and can lead to binge eating later on. Another essential point: respect your rest days. If you slept poorly, are under emotional stress, or feel like you need more energy, don't be afraid to break your fast early. Flexibility is part of being healthy. If you're not failing by adjusting your plan, you're actually listening to what your body needs. And finally, move your body. Physical activity, especially strength training, is a crucial ally. It helps preserve lean muscle mass, boost metabolism, and support hormonal balance. Fasting and movement go hand in hand when your goal is vitality and longevity. When you integrate these practices with wisdom and kindness, fasting stops feeling like an obligation and becomes a true tool for self-care. Menopause is an invitation to reconnect with your body and take care of it with greater awareness. When properly guided, fasting can be one of the most powerful tools to navigate this stage with more ease, health, and vitality. But it must be adapted to your reality, your rhythm, and the signals your body is constantly sending you. It's not about fasting more, it's about fasting smarter. Start with small changes. Experiment with what works for you. And remember, consistency, flexibility, and active listening are your greatest allies on this journey. If you want more content like this with practical guidance, scientific backing, and a deep focus on women's health after 40, subscribe to the channel, turn on notifications, and give this video a like. And let me know in the comments, have you tried fasting during menopause? What was your experience like? Share this video with a friend who's also going through this stage together. We can turn menopause into a new beginning.